Good evening, cinephiles and geekophiles all across the globe. Welcome to the Down the Rabbit Hole podcast, the official Movies Matrix podcast. I'm your host, representing the West Coast of California. I'm Lo, and over in the East Coast, representing New York, we got Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
Yo, what's going on, Lo? Super happy to be here. We actually got a really cool news week to talk about. Last week was a little bit dry. I'll admit we didn't have too much to talk about, but this week I think we got a good amount of stuff, and we got some really big stuff, I would say. But let's just kick it off. So we all know No Time to Die coming out this November with Daniel Craig, the latest 007 James Bond film that's supposed to release, is his last one. And a lot of people for the past year and a half, 2 years right now, have been talking about who should replace Daniel Craig. We've had a lot of Idris Elbas. We've even had a Henry Cavill, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Honestly, there's so many great contenders for this list. And sources are reporting that Tom Hardy is the next James Bond. I'm just going to go with your opinion, Lo. What do you think on this?
So personally, I love Tom Hardy. Don't get me wrong. He's a brilliant actor. He's great in everything I've seen him in, from like Inception to his role in Bronson to The Dark Knight Rises, even as Bane. I didn't like Venom, but he was okay in it. He's a great actor, though. He's phenomenal. He pours himself into everything he does. But personally, I was kind of hoping they would go in a different direction. Shouts out to our guy, Chadwick, our resident fan caster at moviesmatrix.com. He actually did a pretty good piece on who should play the next Bond. Check that out on moviesmatrix.com. I like the choices he had. I think Idris Elba, I think the door is closed. He's a little bit old for the role now. But personally, my favorite choice that Chad had was Henry Golding. And I might be a little biased because I'm Asian, but I just think he's got the charm. He's got the charisma. I am straight male, but he's a good-looking man. I think he looks good in a suit. He could do the action. We saw his romantic chops with Crazy Rich Asians, so we can see him doing the smooth, suave playboy type. And he's young too, so I think if you go in that direction, you can build a whole another franchise for 2020 and beyond. So I was hoping they would have went more in that direction. Who did you want for Bond?
I'm not going to lie. Tom Hardy is a unique choice for me. Personally, I would not pick him if I had the choice. He's very flaunty and stuff like that, but there's something about him. He's got a very manly look. You know what I mean? Like Bear Grylls wilderness type look, especially with the beard and all that. And I'm not saying he can't finesse, but I gotta agree with you, Lo. Henry Golding and Henry Cavill were the two I was really hoping for. And I know Henry Cavill more than likely wasn't going to get it with his ties to the DCEU, The Witcher, Mission Impossible. I was about to say Men in Black, God forsake. But honestly, those two can really suave my appreciation for them. And you were saying with Henry Golding and with him in Crazy Rich Asians. I don't know if you saw this film. It came out last November. I only saw it recently because it came out on HBO Max. It was called Last Christmas, I believe, and it had Emilia Clarke in it. And I know a lot of people had diversive takes on the film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great rom-com, but throughout the entire film, dude, Henry Golding was super suave. He fitted nicely, and dude, his smile and charm could just melt anyone's heart. And just like you, I'm a straight male, but shit, I was even on the floor like, oh god damn, dude. It's crazy. I definitely thought it would be a lot more of a unique take on him, especially with going more leaning towards non-white actors, because we're in that age of POCs, person of colors, taking over. Oh, I don't want to say taking over, but changing out the older white male role, I would say. So I definitely have to agree, Henry Golding, but even Henry Cavill, if you didn't see him in Mission Impossible 7, dude, the dude can flaunt it. He could flaunt it. But yeah, I think that's all we really have to say on the whole James Bond. I really hope it comes out in November. I think, dude, they're doing a lot of promotion for that film, so I think they kind of just want to push it out, whether it's straight to VOD that they haven't announced yet. But I definitely think they want to get that out. But yeah, I'm very indifferent on this pick, but I think we should go to our next pick, right?
Yeah, I
Well,
was
I
just
think
gonna
it's
get there,
really,
but real quick, I
yeah,
think you really touched on something. Like, what's funny is a lot of people had some pushback on Daniel Craig when he was first cast because he was
yeah,
rugged and gritty, and it's like you can't get any more rugged and gritty than Tom Hardy.
yeah.
So anyway, so going from one secret agent to the next, from 007 to the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., sources have told us that Samuel Jackson has been confirmed to reprise his role as Nick Fury in his own Disney Plus series. I personally think he's getting a little old for the part to have a show all about Nick Fury. I wouldn't have minded a prequel series on Nick Fury, seeing how he became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., seeing his secret agent background, especially if we're doing the secret agent storyline here. But at the same time, Samuel Jackson, of course, he's got the charisma. He is Nick Fury. I mean, if he can do it, why not? Like, that's like trying to say, let's recast Robert Downey Jr. because he's old. And up until Endgame, he could have played that part for as long as he wanted, and fans wouldn't have complained. But personally, what do you think about the announcement of this series?
It's enough. I'm very indifferent on this one too. I love Nick Fury. I love Samuel L. Jackson in the role, but Nick Fury has been MIA for, I would say, since Age of Ultron. And by the time this comes out, that's going to be probably 7 years since he had a decent role in a film. Because actually, no, he had a role in Captain Marvel, but since that was a prequel, I don't really want to count that to present day stuff. He hasn't really done anything. I can't even imagine what type of stories that they will choose for Nick Fury. I'm very indifferent, but I'm not against it at the same time. I also feel like they probably should have chose someone else that had a little bit more longevity to them, more recent characters. Not someone that we really know, since we're getting like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I feel like he'd fit perfectly into. He might be in it. We don't really know. He might play a secret role or something. But yeah, I don't really think this is a necessary Disney Plus TV show, especially when they're continuing to build on their hero roster. He's kind of old Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, or Infinity Saga type story. And I feel like he should play more of a background role. And with the whole Far From Home end credit scene, I feel like that's the only way with the whole sword thing that they're going to go with. And I know that WandaVision dabbles in the whole sword reference with Maria Rambeau, right? Is it Maria Rambeau?
Monica Rambeau?
Monica Rambeau. I knew it was an M. But yeah, Monica Rambeau. Maybe they're all going to connect that, hopefully. But as of right now, no context, no details. All we know is that Samuel L. Jackson is going to be in the Nick Fury Disney Plus show. I'm very indifferent. I don't know how to feel. But you know who else is getting a TV show that I'm really shocked about, but also kind of really hyped about? Dude, it's kind of really weird to say this. So if you guys don't know, Peackeeper from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad film
Peacemaker.
Did I say Peacekeeper?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I meant Peacemaker. Peacemaker's getting his own TV show for HBO Max. This is the role that John Cena is playing. I don't know how they're making this show when you can't see John Cena at all. He's always invisible. So are we just going to be seeing backgrounds of people just fighting? I don't know. It's crazy stuff. But dude, John Cena, I've been saying this since Cock Blockers, dude. He is an underrated comedic actor. The dude is hilarious. Even I know this is a big choice right here, but he was funny in the Fred movies. I stand by that. He was funny in the Nickelodeon Fred movies. And honestly, I'm really excited to see this. Not because of the character, but more because James Gunn's writing it. He's directing multiple episodes. And hell, actually, James Gunn's already written it. He wrote it in quarantine. He's directing a good portion of the episodes. I want to say at least half, since there's only going to be 8 episodes. And John Cena is going to be reprising his role from the Suicide Squad. Now, James Gunn has made it very indifferent whether it's going to be a prequel or sequel series to the film. But what do you get out of this, Lo? What do you think about it?
So I think he's definitely being cryptic because it's obviously going to spoil the Suicide Squad, and whether or not he pulls a Deadpool 2 and kills off John Cena in like 5 minutes, or he has such an extended role in the Suicide Squad that the fans want more. I think at this point it's 50-50, and he's keeping all that under wraps because he doesn't want to spoil the Suicide Squad. But like you said, Rye, if it wasn't for James Gunn's direct involvement of directing episodes and helping write the show, I would have no interest. But being a fan of James Gunn, despite everything that people might have said about what he tweeted out before, being a fan of Slither and Dawn of the Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously, I'm just excited to see what he's bringing to the table here. And he showed at DC Fandom that he reads Suicide Squad comics. He's dedicated to source material. And I'm excited because I just feel like he's going to do it justice. I don't want to like call it a guarantee, but seeing his line of work, you just got to think he's probably going to hit this out of the park. So I know, you know, what's interesting is a lot of other DC fans were clamoring for other characters to get their own shows. But I think we got to kind of like, we got to take what we can get at this point because DC is obviously a mess. And I think at some point they are going to figure this out. But, you know, it's going to be baby steps. And I hear everybody, especially I know Amanda's probably listening. I hear everybody. Sure, Black Canary, give her a show. Huntress, sure, give her a show. I'm with it. But at the same time, that whole part of that universe is not even settled right now. So while the Suicide Squad machine is churning, I think HBO Max has taken advantage of the fact that they have stuff on the table ready to go.
Yeah, and before we move on to our next topic, I forgot to mention, I'm really curious to why they mentioned this project so early, because the Suicide Squad doesn't even come out till next August, I believe. And then the show is going to go into production, I believe, mid next year, around next summer, right before the Suicide Squad premieres. And honestly, it's just so confusing to why they did it so early, and then having James Gunn being so cryptic on what it's about. I just really want to know what that thought process was for them. Like, why are we going to announce this so early when the movie's still almost a year away, a few months less? But yeah, it's definitely caught a lot of people's attention. I think this was the biggest announcement for most of the things we're talking about, just because it's so out there and no one really knows too much about Peacemaker. And John Cena is really just starting to dabble in his acting career. And honestly, I can't wait to see him do whatever he wants, because the dude deserves whatever he wants at this point.
You know, people can say what they want about the role, because I've seen some people hate on it, but I liked him in Bumblebee, because Bumblebee, he needed to be kind of like cartoonish and kind of cheesy, and he played the character well. So I liked Bumblebee, and I liked his performance in it. So just, you know, give me more. I think you're right. He's really underrated as an actor.
Definitely.
Let's hit some comments real quick.
Yep. And then going back to our original Henry Golding. Henry Golding is the only choice for Bond. End of story. Such a babe. Now, I actually wanted to ask you this. How tall is Daniel Craig, if you know?
Because I know he's not Tom Cruise short, but he's not that tall, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, because I don't think Henry Golding's that tall. Do you think they're looking for a height, like they have like a height limit for James Bond? Because most of their actors, I would think, other than Pierce Brosnan, has been pretty short.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know the Bond lore, like who he, because I know Ian Fleming has in his mind who it's supposed to look like, and supposedly Daniel Craig was supposedly the closest we've ever got, according to Ian Fleming. But I'm not versed in what he's supposed to look like, but I'm open to him being different. I think with this day and age, if Bond doesn't evolve, I think what's the point of just doing the same thing over and over and over? That's just my opinion. So.
No, definitely. I agree with you, Lo. And then Chris goes on to say, Goose better be in the Nick Fury show. Bro, I can't tell you how mad that made me when that was the thing that made Nick lose his eye. I'm sorry, but that was the biggest disappointment in the world, especially when he says in The Winter Soldier that someone I trusted caused this. So you're here to tell me that a damn kitty cat was the one you trusted.
Verbatim, he said, "The last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye."
Exactly. I didn't know a cat was a somebody, even though it was an alien cat. That's all I know. But
hey, real quick before we go forward, though, in terms of Nick Fury, I wouldn't mind, especially just knowing of we're not sure where this is gonna go. I wouldn't mind if they do like Kenobi style with his series, where it's just short and sweet. Maybe do like the de-aging and have a prequel series, or we see him in space for like 4 episodes and it leads into a movie. But an extended like season, I don't know how many stories we can tell. So hopefully that's the way they go. But I'm not in charge of Marvel.
I think that's what the Disney Plus TV shows are going to go. One season, that's it. Especially when they are connecting everything. You don't want to have multiple seasons because then that just gets way too confusing for people, let's say in like 10 years from now, that want to watch everything from the start. You know what I mean? It's already decently confusing right now, and now we're just adding Disney Plus shows one after another. There's like 10 in development at this point.
All right, looks like John Williams
says John Cena was cringe in Playing with Fire. Wasted opportunity as lead, in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't want to see that movie, and that's the reason why. It's a Nickelodeon produced film, so that already turned me off. I knew exactly what this was going to go, but
you know what that is? That's the mandatory tough guy with kids. Everybody has to do it. Whether it's Vin Diesel in The Pacifier, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop, Jackie Chan in Spy Next Door, all tough guys have to be with a kid. Look at Bautista, My Spy with the little girl.
That was good.
It's mandatory. It's in the action star contract.
No, definitely, I agree. But yeah, that movie just didn't look good.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it, but he also says Idris Elba needs to be Bond. What are we doing? Honestly, he's almost 50. I think he's like 49 right now. And they're signing these people on for multi-picture contracts. I'm sure he doesn't want to do multi-pictures, especially when he's got the Suicide Squad, and we don't know whether he's going to reprise that role of future DC projects, whether that's up Disney. Fuck, dude, they're just so confusing at this point.
Hey, John Williams, man, I'm an Idris Elba truther, but I think we missed the boat. I think Idris Elba should have been Bond 10 years ago, but they missed the boat, and he's getting older, and he probably doesn't. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rye. He did mention that he had no longer any interest in the role.
Yeah.
I think we missed the boat on it, but
yeah, he said he really couldn't care. Think about it. The dude's done so much stuff already. Why does he want to be like Bond? You know what I mean? I can't blame the guy, but you know what I can blame is the Invisible Man for making me like this actor so damn much. And that's Aldous Hodge playing Hawkman in Black Adam, dude. This was a surprise casting, and honestly, I think no one disagrees that this is top tier casting right here. And I'll be the first to admit, the Black Adam from the first time it was announced to now has been one of the most confusing projects I've ever seen. Between not John Cena. Dude, I'm mixing my wrestlers up at this point. Dwayne Johnson has been with this project for at least 6 years at this point, from the point they announced it to now. And then we had Noah Centineo announced as Atom Smasher a few months ago, which I think everyone agreed was an odd choice. Noah Centineo does not look like an Atom Smasher to me. And then now we got Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. And then this just starts adding more questions. Are they going to go with Hawk Girl? Who are they going to cast? Are they going to go with a POC, or are they going to keep her white? There's so many questions, but to go back to this casting, I love Aldous Hodge, and if you see me looking to the side right now, I'm looking at his filmography with his most recent stuff in The Invisible Man. He's in Regina King's One Night in Miami this year. I can't wait to see what else he's been. What a Man Wants.
I saw him in a trailer for Star Wars. Holy crap. Star Trek Discovery. He actually, honestly, I'm not going to lie, because of him alone, I kind of want to check it out. I've been sleeping on Star Trek Discovery. So,
bro, he was in Straight Outta Compton. So many different things, but this guy is a very talented actor.
You still have that still I sent you? You got to pull that up for the audience here.
Do I? No, I don't. You didn't send it to me.
Let me just double check, y'all.
Oh, here we go. Never mind. That was my bad. Yeah, it's here.
You're good.
It's here. Yeah,
we gotta show them in his glory, man. He just throw the mask on him. He looks perfect. He's got the jawline. He's got the physique.
Dude, this is a gorgeous man right here. Like, goddamn.
Oh yeah,
he fits it.
Just put the mask on him, man. Give him some armor. He's gonna look savage.
And honestly, I want to admit, That's the one thing I like about the Hawkman character is this is the one character that no one really cares who plays him as long as they got the physical and acting ability. You know what I mean? Because we have all these conversations about whether, like with James Bond, matter of fact, whether they want him to be a person of color or white again. But I feel like Hawkman has been so diverse in his history through the comics and how even TV shows in like Legends of Tomorrow and the whole CW Arrowverse, he's been white, he has been black. So I just think that this is top tier casting. And I feel like if he's not been represented before, like with the Invisible Man and not been appreciated, dude, this is going to bring it to the max. What do you think about this casting?
I think it's stellar. I haven't seen enough of his work, but his work in the Invisible Man was incredible. He showed his entire range, his sensitive moments with his daughter, his like friendly the relationship he had with Elizabeth Moss. It was the bond was genuine. Their friendship was very like you could tell he deeply cared about her. He played that part really well. But then also when it came down to it, he was squabbling with the Invisible Man too, and you could see the physical part of it too. I think it was a full perfect like audition for any type of superhero work. I agree with Amanda. Bless whoever casted them. They're hitting it out the park for this one. I think this is definitely putting Black Adam in the right direction. I admittedly wasn't excited when it was announced, but after DC fandom and after knowing that we're gonna get the JSA,
yeah, the Justice Society,
and like Doctor Fate. I'm just excited, man. This movie is going to be so much bigger than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a grounded tale, like origin tale of The Rock, but we're getting so much more, and it's very exciting.
I will admit, like, I agree with you. I wasn't the biggest surprised or really wanted a Black Adam film, but this is shaping up to be a really unique film, especially for a character like him who's a very anti-hero-esque. And it seems like they're going against the I don't want to say gender norms of films, but I'm going to say gender norms of films because we have the Justice Society, Dr. Fate, so many different characters from so many different spectrums of the DC universe coming together. And honestly, I can't wait to see Dwayne Johnson go against Zachary Levi whenever that happens because, dude, that's insane. But you know what else is pretty crazy, Loretto, that I'm going to hold my opinions off for a good second? The Zack Snyder Justice League cut. This is one of the most infamous films in history, I would like to call at this point. So much drama and just so many different... Dude, I can't wait for a documentary on this. You know what's going to happen. The documentary will be stunning. But I don't know if you guys heard, but when the Zack Snyder Justice League cut was officially announced, they said to people that the film's done. All they need to do is edit it and finish visual effects and the score. And a lot of people push for this film because that's what they've been hearing from Zack Snyder, from Ray Fisher, from Jason Momoa. Everyone was saying this film was finished and all they needed to do was do some touch-ups. And people asked if they needed to go back and do some more shooting. Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers all came out and said no. And the original budget for this was for 20 to 30 million. And I assume that was to do the visuals and the score. But now it has been announced that next month, October, there's going to be a $70 million not reshoot, but added footage that they need to shoot. It's going to be a week-long shoot for this. And I believe Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and surprisingly Ray Fisher are all coming back for a week's worth of shooting for this. And before I say my opinions, because I can go on a rant for a while about this, but Loretto, what do you think about this $70 million budget that just came out of nowhere?
So I think this is a double-edged sword. And to be honest, even the very announcing of the Snyder Cut being released on HBO Max is a double-edged sword because, as so many people have already stated, they're practically realizing like that they fumbled the situation and they're giving the fans what they want after all this time. But again, after all this time, they weren't listening in the first place. And then so to give Zack Snyder the original budget, I just have a feeling somebody upstairs up top in the WB was like, hey, you know what? what if we reshot this? You need this scene? Yeah, let's throw some more money at them. But it just feels like they don't know what they're doing still. It feels like they're just throwing throwing luck into the wind. Like, oh, let's just see what happens. Yeah, go ahead, Zach. Yeah, you already have the project. Let's just give it to you now. But at the same time, on the other side of the sword, for fans especially, I think it shows how dedicated the cast is to Snyder. I think, especially with Ray Fisher, he wouldn't have been doing this if it wasn't for Snyder's involvement. And I'm sure he trusts Zack Snyder. And if Snyder felt that this needed to be done, I'm sure Fisher and Affleck and everybody was just back behind him 100%. And I think as a fan, that's exciting because the fact that they're committing to this means that there is something worth seeing. So personally, admittedly, I wasn't terribly excited when I saw the trailer. I mean, I was hyped for a second, but I rewatched it and I was just like, well, we saw most of that already. But knowing that they're going to add a little bit more to it and it is going to be a 4-hour cut, my anticipation starting to simmer. And it's not quite at a boil yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Loretto, do you know what the budget will be after all this for this film, by the way?
Oh, like altogether?
Altogether, let's just say everything's done and this drops on HBO Max next year sometime.
On top of the previous film's budget or just on its own, the Snyder Cut?
Everything, the previous film and this.
Oh, Lord. What, like $500,000 or 500 mil?
The original Justice League theatrical cut we got was $300 million. More than any Marvel film. And Marvel already throws all their money into everything. Now, let's take into account the another $70 million that they're adding for this, right? So that goes up to $370 million.
That's and let's half bill, right?
Dude, let's take into account if they want to do that whole doubling the cost when it comes to advertising. Let's add another $70 million, dude. That's almost $500 million on this film. And bro, I'm speechless with this. Dude, I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people out there that are diehard Zack Snyder supporters, and I'm so glad he is getting this cut. But is this movie really profitable for $500 million when you look at it? Like, for example, I'm gonna pull up what the theatrical cut got worldwide. I think it was around $600 million, right? So Justice League 2017. Let's see. So, how much money do you think this movie made?
I think it made somewhere around 200 to 300 mil domestic, right?
657 worldwide.
Okay, that's worldwide.
And domestic, 93 million.
Oh, no way. It was that little?
And the gross domestically was only 229.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere around there. I was going to say.
Yeah. And then, dude, I'm just curious to know how many HBO paid memberships they're going to make off this. Because you know how there's going to be a lot of people that are going to take advantage of that free trial they give when all this finishes. And I personally, between us, I don't think it's worth $500 million. I'm just speechless. And the whole fact that I take this as a blatant lie from Warner Brothers and Zach, if I remember him saying it, that this film was finished. And I know that's a reason for a lot of people to backpack this movie, because a lot of people thought, well, if this movie's finished and all of it needs is visual effects and the score, just throw a few million at it. And that's what they were doing with the 20 and 30 million. And now all of a sudden they need a $70 million budget to go back and film some extra stuff. Now let's take into account 70 million really isn't that much for a blockbuster film, right? But do you know what was made for $70 million? Joker. Do you know how much money Joker made? Over $1 billion. One of the most profitable films ever, and the most profitable comic book film. Think about that. They're spending a whole movie's budget that they could be making another $1 billion off of if they did a whole nother Black Label type villain film with someone like fucking Clayface or someone like that. You know what I mean? That was the first person to come to my head. Don't judge me. But to think that they could spend another $70 million on like a Mr. Freeze movie and potentially make that much money and even surpass the original theatrical cut of Justice League on an extra multiple scenes? Like, come on.
You know what this feels like?
No.
This feels like okay, so I think the WB all hail. We got our resident
All hail
Snyder
Daddy
Cut,
Snyder.
Our Snyder Cut mascot over here.
All hail Daddy Snyder.
No, but you know what this feels like? This feels like WB is realizing, like, okay, we dropped the ball. The fans turned on us. They didn't show out for the DCU originally. This almost feels like they're trying to buy back the trust of their fans.
And
like,
Zack Snyder, I would like to say. And Zack Snyder.
So, but in their defense, and I don't know who's in charge of their marketing right now. I'm not that deep in the game with it, but what it feels like is they're going to invest in this product and this project with hopes that they win the fans back, and with hopes that from here they can then start anew with the DC cinematic, whatever you want to call it, their cinematic universe. I don't even know if it's all connected anymore. I think Zack Snyder's is a standalone now, right? I mean, it's confusing.
That's what they say now, but this is Warner Brothers, and when they see the stats, I'm sure it'll either be continuity, retcon the last Justice League film, and then say, hey, you remember those original 2 extra parts that were supposed to be after this? Well, fuck yeah, they're coming out in 2 years. So,
and look, no offense, but like I know you're a Flash truther. I feel like that's gonna make everything messy. It's gonna make everything messy.
I agree. Especially when the reports of this film's $70 million budget came out. It also came out some more extra stuff on Ray Fisher's contract. So originally, in the very original Flash script, I'm going to assume the one that Andy Muschietti switched, Cyborg had a big role. And now, with Andy Muschietti's film, he has a minimalistic role. Now, let's think it this way. If anyone's seen Flashpoint, you know how chaotic that film is. It's pretty much a whole Justice League movie in of itself. We have 2 different Batman in this film. We got Ben Affleck's Batman, and we've got Michael Keaton's Batman, the 89 Batman, and the Snyder Batman. And this it's a whole other production that I think is confusing. But going back to your entire point about this is the thing they're throwing money at to win the trust back, honestly, they've been on a roll recently. I don't know why they would want to try and win their trust back, because the theatrical Justice League was, I would say, the last bad DC film. We got Wonder Woman. We've got, that came out right before, but still. We have Wonder Woman, Shazam, Birds of Prey. Wonder Woman 1984 is probably going to be pretty decent. And then Joker. And then we got the Batman. Like, they've already got a bunch of things going for them. I don't know why they would use this to buy fans back, unless you've got like a whole other thing that I can't even think about right now.
No, and that's what it is. It just feels like a blunder. And this, like, the more this goes on, it just feels like WB is just totally mucked this whole thing up.
And like you said about the Flash movie and getting it messier, I think whether how successful this is only going to add to that, because they're going to want to continue. Oh, wait, they actually like this? No way. So let's make those 2 other sequels all of a sudden. And then we got the Flash movie that's about to release in like 6 months, let's say. Dude. I just don't know what to say. Yeah, Chad says 70 million budget for Snyder Cut. Yeah, clearly Snyder Cut was already finished. Yeah, Chad, you miss it, man. That's exactly what we were saying, dude. This clearly wasn't a finished project. And I think the outrage isn't more about the 70 million. I think it was more that people were lied to. I don't know if it was an intentional thing that Zack said when people asked him before this was announced, because I know he has said that this movie's finished. And even Momoa said it's finished. He's watched the entire movie, according to him. And it's super sloppy. And you can see how passionate I am about this whole Snyder Cut thing, because, dude, the Snyder Cut has just been a monument in filmmaking these past few years, more so the past 2 years. But do you have any other things to say about this?
One final thought. I think the most ridiculous thing that's going to come out of this entire saga, so to say, is that no matter what side of the fence you're on, whether you love Zack Snyder, whether you hate Zack Snyder, whether you're kind of in the middle, and I'm kind of like a little bit past that point, but I'm still like not fully on board, we're all going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's the most ridiculous thing, is that all of this controversy and all of these problems, we are still going to watch it and everyone's going to talk about it. So I can't even say if this is a win or not, but the way that WB handled this is just very
Poor.
like puzzling. That's all I got to say about that.
And Chad says, well, something I actually just touched on. Well, Snyder kept posting pics of BTS stuff, and film cans like the movie was already completed. It's Snyder's fault that people think it was finished. Not only that, but Momoa and fucking Fisher, they both come out and said they've seen the film. I know for a fact they have, because that was talked about for a while, especially before this was even announced, and that's what they used to help push the Warner Brothers thing. And I know that's what the both of them used that for, was the film was finished. So I don't want to make any accusations, but does it seem like it was kind of a bit of a far lie to help try and get this film made? Or do we think that it was genuine enough that they thought the film was finished, and then this 70 million extra stuff was kind of like very last minute thing that no one expected?
You know what it feels like too, is it feels like he was just trying to like build on the hype, and nothing against Zack Snyder. No offense. For the most part, I appreciate his work as a filmmaker, and I'm terribly like, I feel for his loss, but at the same time, it just kind of felt like he was fanning the flames of what was already happening with release the Snyder Cut, and he just was like, "Hey, you guys are feeling this. Let me throw you guys some cookies. Let me throw you guys some little breadcrumbs." And I think he was fanning the flames for I mean, and obviously it worked. So, you know, I can't fault the guy for it, but
Yeah, and this is the thing about DC in general that I want to touch on, because when that trailer came out at DC Fandom, I, like many others, wasn't that impressed with the CG, which I don't want to judge because it's technically not a finished product. And I much rather have cleaner CGI with a coherent story rather than add an extra 70 million that could make or break a film, in my opinion. We don't know. We have no idea from what we've seen. And I just don't like this situation, man. I don't like it at all. But any last words before we start wrapping up?
well, with all that being said, our giveaway is still active, right, Rye?
Yeah, guys, if you don't know, we don't have anyone signed up just yet. We have to start promoting it a little bit more. I think I'm going to extend it because it's supposed to end on the 30th of this month. I will probably run it to the end of October now. So right now we've got a giveaway for 2 Snyder Cut Associate Producers t-shirts that were made for DC Fandom. We've got 1 medium, 1 large. If you guys want to know anything on how to win one of these, the link is in the description below. Right now, like I said, the end date is supposed to be the 30th, which is in 2.5 days at this point. I'm going to extend it to October 31st just so more people get more time to apply for this or submit their submissions and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to give those away. I got one for myself, and they're really nice. They're very comfortable t-shirts, and anything to help support the cause for them. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming out to our show this week. I really enjoyed everything we talked about. It was all really hyped stuff, except for the Zack Snyder stuff, I'd say. But a lot of great news and stuff like that. Loretto, do you have anything else to say before we wrap up, man?
So one last thing, September's almost over. We're like days away from October. Spooktober, spooky season is upon us, and I'm not gonna lie, I just started my new job, so I've been kind of like busy. But once October 1st hits, I'm all in it. So I'm prepping for our upcoming horror movie draft, which will be hosted on this channel. So stay tuned, guys. It's gonna be epic. We're gonna have 2 different brackets, teams on both sides with different pools of. They're gonna draft the best horror movie films and craft their best horror movie teams. It's going to be crazy epic. And also, spoiler alert, I'm working on a Tim Burton A-list. I'm going to hit the best of his filmography, because who's spookier than Tim Burton? So keep an eye out for that on moviesmatrix.com.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button for more stuff on the Movies Matrix channel. Like Lo said, we are shifting a lot of stuff like the movie drafts over to this channel. As you guys have seen, we have started doing trailer reactions for some of the bigger trailers. We don't know when the next big one's going to be because nothing else is coming out this year at the rate we're going. But yeah, guys.
One last thing. Nobody has seen it yet, but we have trailer reactions for WandaVision and The Mandalorian. If trailer reactions are your thing, check that out. It's on this channel. You can find it down below.
Yeah, guys. And without a doubt, see you next week.